anyone else?
I'm Stella Josephine, and I lived with the Bowman family the last, about a year ago. I moved in and lived with them for 6 months before I moved down to California. And so living with Josh's family, I got to know the family, get really close during that time. There's something about living with people that really get you to see the things. Josh would get up in the morning and come through when I was eating breakfast, and he'd have his pajamas on and would barely be able to open his eyes early in the morning before high school. And he had an alarm clock that would go off, and he would not hear it. I would hear it downstairs, and it would be going off for the longest time. And finally, I'd come upstairs and go in his room, and he'd just be crashed out, sleeping so hard in his bed. And I felt kind of uncomfortable being in his bedroom. I was like, oh, should I wake him up, or should I just turn the alarm off? And so he and I had to work out a system for that. And when just a little fun thing that I remembered, because this is sort of dear to my heart, it could be a little bit like this too. Josh was really into computer gaming. He had a whole community of people that he gamed with on the internet. And at Christmas time, they did the Secret Santas. And so he had a boy, I think, maybe in like Oklahoma or someplace very unfamiliar with Alaska. And so he put together this like amazing arrangement. He went out shopping before Christmas and did all these like really expensive, thoughtful gifts for his Secret Santa. And they were on the kitchen, or on the big dining room table for days. And I don't know how long it was after Christmas that he finally mailed that package off. And then Josh was so thoughtful. Like, he would come downstairs and he would knock on my door, and then he would say, do you mind if I do laundry? And he was just really sensitive. He knew the laundry was kind of close to where I stayed, and he was just really thoughtful, wanted to make sure it wasn't going to interrupt me or anything. So those are just some of my sweet memories. Just a really, really sweet, smart, insightful. And his sisters, like, they talk about teasing and stuff, but sometimes they were merciful to him. He had the patience of Job. He was really, really patient with all the different family dynamics that would go on with all of us. He just kind of roll his eyes a little bit and just roll with the punches.
I've always admired Josh ever since I met him. I looked up to him, not because he was way smarter than I would ever be, but because he was his own person. He never really fit in, but when you met him, just realized he didn't really belong with everyone else. I never really heard him say anything bad about him. He was just a good person. He helped people when they needed it. He was never nosy. He didn't just try to get in other people's business. He was a really good listener. He had a silent confidence about him that I always respected that. And he was no doubt a genius, and he always had the answer in class. And he was a really good brother, and he was a good friend and a good man, and my best friend for a very long time. I don't know why he did what he did. No one really understood him, and I certainly didn't. But I probably understood him a little better than most people, and we seemed to be on the same wavelength most of the time. But we never had a fight once in our friendship, and we weren't really that kind of people. And we had a timeless kind of friendship. There was periods of time where we wouldn't talk to each other for about a year, and then the next day we'd hang out like we'd just see each other the other day. And it was just really cool. We didn't really talk much about our opinions. We just enjoyed hanging out and having a good time. He was a really private person. I don't think anyone really knew what was going on in his head, but it's not always a bad thing. I've never considered it, and I've contemplated suicide. But I don't know why people do it, but I've thought about it, and I think people do that is because they feel there's nothing left in the world, and they don't believe anyone will notice their absence, and they're mistaken. Everyone notices, and everyone's impacted. I don't really know the situation Josh is in. We've drifted a bit the past few years, and I don't think he realized how many people cared about him. He never was the popular boy in school, but I always saw him as that. And quite a few people from middle school and high school who barely knew him and met him just a few times are craving at the moment. And we had an inside joke in middle school that developed during track, and I remember one time he told me he didn't like lasagna, and I made him for the rest of the track practice repeat the phrase, "I love lasagna," and we never told anyone, and I think it's just a testament that he's in a good place today, because my mother unknowingly made lasagna for Jeanette's dinner.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Peter Chu. I'm a friend of Josh's. When I was about 6 or 7, I would say, "Josh, can I play with you?" And he's like, "No, I'm working on a video game." Or Josh, can I spy on your sisters with you? I want please. But he would say, "No, I want to spy by myself." But when he graduated high school, I saw a smile on his face, and that was the only smile I ever saw. And one time, I beat him on a Halo game. But for some reason, he was a nice guy. He knew how to tell no, he knew how to tell yes, and most of all, he's really a good person, and I think that he's very nice.
Who wants to follow that? Come on up.
I'm actually Joe Chu. I'm Peter Chu's little older brother. And how I remember Josh. When I was younger, actually not that long ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, I would spend like maybe 3 weekends in a row at the Bowman's house. Like, I don't even know why. Like my mom and dad would just drop us off and we'd just hang out. Like, I think Josh never saw me as like one of his friends. He kind of just saw me as like a little brother that ran around with his sisters. Because Josh would be in his room or doing something, and then me and Kimmy would run around, and like Kimmy would do all like the mean stuff, but I kind of just sit there and cackle in the corner. And I thought, like, even though like I didn't really like, whenever Kimmy was off doing something with another person or something, I'd kind of like sneak in there and be like, "Can I borrow one of your books?" Because this kid had the best book collection. Like, he had every single book that I've ever read or wanted to read. Like, he had Harry Potter, like anything that I was into, and for some reason we were so, like, I could just ask for any book and he would let me borrow it. So whenever I wasn't like tagging along with Kimmy, I would always steal one of his books, and it was cool. And we'd talk about it for a while and stuff. Except for he always knew like 10 times more than I did, so it was kind of lame, but that's just what I remember.